Hi there, my name is Wayne Hedlund with Wayne Hedlund Consulting. In this video tutorial, we're going to walk through one of the important things that organizations need to do, but usually feel a little nervous about, and that is removing an individual from their Asana account, especially when the individual has been part of the team for a long time and they have a lot of tasks. Perhaps they have private projects, they're part of portfolios or goals or other areas inside of Asana, and it's time now to off-ramp that individual. They've moved on for one reason or another, and all of their tasks and various things need to be assigned to someone else. And it can be very intimidating for leaders and supervisors in this moment because they're afraid, hey, what if I lose something, or if I do something wrong? We don't want to lose work, and we don't want to create any bottlenecks for anyone in the future. So with that in mind, we're going to walk through what we can do to off-ramp a person in Asana and transition it to another person. So I'm right here. I have my friend Fred Flintstone. He's worked for my organization for a good long time, but it's time for him to move on. And so we're going to see what we can do. Before we go ahead and remove Fred from the organization, we need to either work with Fred, hopefully, and have Fred log into his account with him, or get access to Fred's account so that we can really do this properly and well. Now, if you cannot get into Fred's account, there are still some things that you can do to initiate most of what I'm about to share. The main thing that we want is, if we're able to get into Fred's account or get into his account with him, we can make sure if there's any one-off tasks that he has created in his My Tasks that are associated anywhere else that are work related, or if he has any private projects, that we can make sure they get transitioned properly. That said, let's go ahead and start with the easiest thing, tasks. So when we go over to My Tasks, of course, inside Fred's space, we can open up all of the tasks and see them. Now, right now, Fred has all of his tasks sorted, grouped by section, but we're going to go ahead and turn that group off so we can just see the massive lists of tasks. And we already have the filter showing incomplete tasks. Now, the simplest thing would be to go ahead and highlight all of these tasks and just reassign them to the new individual. In this case, Fred's friend Barney is now working at the organization, and we're going to move everything to him. So I could just highlight everything in here, and I'm going to do that quickly by selecting the first task, scrolling down to at least as of right now in this right now, we can only select 50 tasks, but I believe Asana is going to be changing that in the future. So at some point you can select more than 50, but holding the shift key down on my keyboard with that first task selected, I'm going to select the very bottom task or the first 50 tasks. You'll see it selected all the tasks in between. So I can go ahead, if I want to, in this black bar right here, and I can find this icon and reassign these tasks to Barney. Now, I'm not going to do that quite yet because sometimes people will say, well, what if I don't have access to My Tasks, or we want to do it a little bit differently? The other thing that we can do, and we'll probably need to do this anyway at some point, again, ideally logged in as Fred, but okay if we're not, is we're going to go to search and we're going to select advanced search. We're going to say assign to Fred, and then we're probably going to just say just show us the incomplete tasks that are assigned to Fred, and we'll do a search. As this pops in here, we've got all the tasks here. We see they're sorted by project. So now you have a little bit more control if you want to. You can come in and say, well, some of these tasks need to be assigned to Barney, but others need to be assigned to someone else. So if you want to take a little bit more control, you can do that. Or we can go ahead and just select all those tasks again and assign them to Barney. So in this particular case, I'm going to select those 31 tasks. I'm going to go ahead and reassign them to Barney. And now, theoretically, in just a moment, usually it takes at least 30 seconds or more, depending on the number of tasks. When I jump back to My Tasks, we'll see how those tasks were no longer there. But the other thing is, while I'm still inside this advanced search, things assigned to Fred, let's go ahead and take care of a few other things. So I notice that when I select projects inside this search results, I can see that there are actually several projects that are also, Fred is the key player in those projects. I can see that there are no portfolios that are assigned to him or goals, no tasks and templates. So for right now, I feel pretty content. We're going to go ahead and take care of these projects a little bit later. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to mount, well, let's just jump over to my tasks and see what happened here. So it's still showing up here. If I open one of these, I could see it's assigned to Barney. You say, well, why are they still showing up in my tasks? This is one of those scenarios where we actually just need to wait. Actually, I just got a notification from Asana saying my changes are syncing. So while we're waiting for that, let's jump over to projects. Click on the down drop next to projects and click browse projects. This is going to open up a browse project view. And in here, I can come over here and say, show me all the projects where Fred is the owner. Okay. So here are a number of projects where Fred is the owner of the project. Now I can't change Fred as the owner right here, but what I can do is hold the control key down on my PC keyboard, or the command key if we're using a Mac, and I can select each of these right now. As I'm holding this down, you'll notice that they're opening in new tabs right over here. So I can open each one of those in the new tab, and I can come over here and basically set the owner to be someone else. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and make the owner Edna and set her as the project owner for that one. This one here, we'll select Donald, set him as the project owner, and you kind of get the point. So we're going to do that for each of the projects that we're working with. This one is empty. There's just a placeholder project. So we're just not even going to worry about that one because that's a placeholder project. Okay, so with that in mind, we have accomplished our first goal, and that is, we're just going to go ahead and add Barney in here and make him the project admin. Okay, so I think that we have taken care of that. We'll remove him we'll actually just remove him completely from the project. We'll make Barney the project owner. Let's just jump back over here and see what else we have going on. So projects right here. So project owner. What about projects where Fred is a member? Okay, so I can also see where he's a member. And again, there are a lot of projects in here. It might not be worth it for me to go through each of these projects and remove him, because he will be removed as a member once I remove him completely from the organization. That said, this would be a great opportunity to be able to determine whether or not we want to invite Barney into any of these projects. So if we want to say which projects is Fred a member, so we can, again, using the controller command key on our keyboard, open up these individually. I'll just open up one, and we can come in here and say, hey, we want to make sure that our new employee that's taking over for Fred is going to have access to that project. So we're going to pop over here, and we're going to invite Barney to that project. In this case, we'll make him an editor, and we'll go invite, and we'll be good to go. So we're going to do that for each of the projects that we want to. Okay, and Asana's being a little persnickety. The other thing we can do is, again, with this one, I'm not going to worry about. I'm just filtering teams and portfolios and status, so I don't need to worry about the rest of these. Okay, so now I can jump over to my tasks. Looks like it's completely empty. I can jump over to, I already jumped over to I can actually, again, do that advanced search if I need to, and say assign to Fred right here. And I can, show incomplete tasks and click search, and nothing there. I can see the projects. Again, here are some projects that it looks like he's part of. Looks like several of these are archived. This is the one I did not remove him from. The rest of these are showing archived projects, which did not show up in that other result. When I actually browsed projects, you'll notice that it didn't actually give me the option to see the archived ones. It just showed me the ones where he was the owner of the active projects, right? So kind of keep that in mind. Pop back over here in Fred and search. And I forgot to show incomplete tasks and search. Okay, so I think I feel pretty good. I feel like we've gotten most of what we wanted to taken care of in advance. Now, to be honest with you, you could just remove Fred and try to do this from the back end. I just have found with organizations, they feel more comfortable taking care of all this beforehand. And again, if Fred were part of one of the portfolios, like for instance, if Fred were the owner of a particular portfolio, then we'd want to go ahead and maybe change that to whoever the new owner is going to be. We don't need to. Another thing that I will recommend is if Fred has any reports, like he has a report here called My Organization, another one called My Impact, and these are probably auto-generated by Asana, but you'll see that Fred owns them. So you could actually come into these reports if you wanted to and reassign them to someone else so that we don't lose whatever work we had. So okay, so I've invited Barney. I'm going to set him as the owner. And now I feel like, okay, so now we're not losing that particular dashboard or report. Same thing with this one. Go ahead and change that one to Barney and invite him and set him as the owner, right? Same thing for goals and portfolios. If there's especially private portfolios that are in there that for one reason or another he has set up that as private, you can come in here and of course set them as public, or you can change the owner to someone else. All right, I think I have taken care of what I needed to. I'm ready to remove Fred from my organization. So the next thing that we're going to do is someone who has administrative access will log into Asana. So I'm not logged in as Fred. I'm logged in as me because I'm kind of the big wig here. And I can come over here and I'm going to select Admin Console. When I do that, I'm going to go to my Admin Console. Of course, I've blurred some things out to keep privacy for my organization and what we're doing. I'm currently set to guest because Fred is a guest. If he were a member, it would be the same exact thing. But I'm going to find the member that I'm going to remove, in this case, Fred. I'm going to select the three dots and select Remove. And it's going to ask me a couple of questions. First of all, do I want to create a new project for Fred's tasks? I would leave that turned on if you're, again, just want to make sure that you haven't missed anything. The one thing that I haven't addressed, and when we were talking about earlier this process of removing all of Fred's tasks, was what do we do with all of his completed tasks, right? Because all I really did was his incomplete tasks. The problem is Fred's been part of the organization for a long time. And if I were to try to reassign all these completed tasks to Barney, first of all, Barney didn't actually do them. And second of all, it would just take forever to do it. So usually I recommend just leaving that there. You will be able to see in the history who finished different tasks. So at any given time in the future, you want to say, well, who did that? It'll still retain that information. So you should be good to go. So my recommendation is to not include completed tasks in this new project that is created. We also want to say, are there any projects that we want to transition ownership to? We hopefully already took care of that, but we can go ahead and assign those to Barney as needed. And now we're going to go ahead and remove that guest. And that guest has been removed. A new project is going to be created for me, the owner, that basically shows all of the tasks that have been assigned to Fred. And I can, find that project when I'm ready. So it's literally right now Fred has been removed, right? So Fred was logged in, and now Fred is no go, right? He has no further access. And so if I want to, I can now log in as Barney. I can look at his tasks and I can see all those tasks that were assigned to Fred have been assigned to me. I can go into the insights and I'll see the reports that are in there that were moved over to me. I could see Fred has been removed, and I feel pretty confident that we accomplished our goal. Okay, so hopefully you found this helpful. It just kind of helping you know what needed to happen to make sure that everything was moved from the old team member to the new. I know I took some time explaining this, but wanted to make sure that we weren't missing anything. Okay, all that said, I'm just going to say one more thing. At the end of the day, if you don't have access to Fred or you don't go through all these different steps that I've recommended, you still can just remove that person. And at the very minimum, all of the tasks that you have access to will end up in a project where you can go in and make sure that you reassign them that way. Okay, so either way works. Hopefully you found this meaningful and helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great